Hi, everybody. My name is Roy Healy, and I help people expand their awareness. Okay, so I'm actually a bit surprised that I'm here again this week. In fact, I was surprised I was here last week because I hadn't really planned to do that. I've been planning to get started on videos for months now, maybe even years, but then I just felt that that one was needed to be said. But after that, now I put that on last week, and I realized it was about, banking and about pharmaceuticals and about the news. And then I gave you the kind of highlighted the issues and never really give you any solutions. So I feel like just this week I should just touch on a couple of solutions. So yeah, I'm just going to go through a couple of the issues and a couple of the what I believe to be some of the solutions. And then yeah, take it from there really. So okay, so I mentioned the news. Now the thing with the news is that so many I've seen just watch the normal TV, the daily channels, or the channels that are given to them, and just watch one of them. Even they don't even compare with different ones, but the one that they like is the one they watch, and whatever it's said, they believe. And I really want to say that isn't the best way to do it. The, all the different programs, different TV stations, particularly the mainstream media, as I mentioned last week, is owned by the same people, and so they have an agenda, and it's not really to feed you the truth, unfortunately. It's just now how it is. It's not always the truth, and it needs, so you need to compare. You need to be looking, discerning what is the news. I want to encourage you to go online, look at the news online, look at the different channels, look at the information online, check out lots of information, um, be discerning. London Live is good. I've discovered recently, discovered Katie Hopkins. She says it like she thinks it is, and I like that. I like people that have the courage of their convictions, and Katie Hopkins is good. She's got a channel online as well. Then this might be controversial, but I think David Icke needs to be had a look at. You don't have to believe everything he says, but boy, has he got some fantastic ideas, and he has prophesied a lot of what's happened. I reckon at least 90% of what he says is true. If you don't want to believe everything, that's fine, but he says some good stuff, some real stuff, and he's warning us. He's been warning us for years and years, and people ridicule him, well, especially the mainstream media. But David Icke has got something to say, and he knows what's going on in this world if anybody does. So I'd give him a try. Give him, but if it might not be your cup of tea, but he gives good information. Point is, look for, discern it. There's a lot of fake news out there, as Donald Trump says. There is a lot of fake news out there. That's just how it is, and we need to be even some, there's fake news all over the conspiracy theorists. And I do believe there is a lot of smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Where is it? How did it go? There is, and a lot of these conspiracy theories, they're not conspiracy, they're actually fact, and they're called conspiracy by the people that are trying to cover up the truth. I like to call them fact seekers rather than conspiracy theorists, because basically I'm one of those as well. Check out the news. Don't believe what they say. Don't believe what's happening. It's orchestrated. Even the adverts I see are orchestrated, and they've got agendas in the advertising and things like that. You just can't, don't leave the TV on. I was thinking we hardly put the TV on at all, and just put it on for a certain program. We never leave it on. I see lots of homes leave the TV on all the time. We hardly ever put it on at all. We put it on when we've got something we want to see, and even sometimes we want to check the news, but we like to just compare the news. Okay, so that's enough of that one. Then the banking situation is, as I mentioned last time, it's a lot of it, the American system, dollar system, is a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a con. It really is a con. You can look into it. There's a guy called Mike Maloney has got a good series on free on YouTube, Mike Maloney, and he tells you exactly how the system works. It's quite laborious. It's quite long. You don't have to watch it all, but it gives you a good idea of how the banking system is really and of course there's lots of others. I've seen many others. It's just Mike's one is really explained from start to finish how it works. But and why it affects other countries is because the other countries used to be based. The gold standard was abolished in '71, so you could walk in with a dollar and get a and say on it would say give the bearer a piece of gold for worth this much. And they took that off. Nixon took that off. Richard Nixon. It was taken off in his time. Or he took it out in 1971. Since then, it's been the standard has been dollars. So that's why it affects us, because lots of, I think it's 100 odd, 150 odd other currencies are based on the dollar. So they're printing dollars, and they really are printing them by the trillions, just printing them and creating them out of thin air on computers and printing real ones like monopoly money. If that's got to devalue and yes, there's lots and lots of stuff about that online, but it's the difference. It's called fiat currency. It's not money. It's not of value. It's devaluating every time they print a dollar. It devalues a dollar, and if the rest of the currencies, the French and the pound, are all based on that, and that's the what is the word? The standard, the standard that they are on, and it's being devalued, then it means that everything else is being devalued the same. There's no basis. So that's currency, fiat currency they call it, and money then is actual things that is of value. Money is silver and gold. That's what money is. So what the solution then is to have silver and gold. If you can have real silver and gold, better, but you can buy stuff online that's supposedly or is stored in banks around the world. But if you can have the real thing, is a good thing to have, silver and gold. And then when the money, there's lots of predictions. These money systems work in cycles. So you have up and down cycles where the money crashes and you have depressions and it comes up again. And it's over the years, there's been cycles. You can look at graphs and how it's been cycled. And they're predicting that this is going to be crashing about now for years, and that was before the pandemic. They were going to say how they're now keeping it alive is anybody's guess. And the other thing to get hold of is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. If you haven't heard of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, look it up. I've been into Bitcoin now for about 4 years. I've been mining it, and I have some, and it's going to be it's the future. The future is cryptocurrency and largely Bitcoin. There's been some good things about that. Investigate it, research it, see if it's what you do. If you've got some money, I know people with big portfolios that got 25% of the stuff of their investments are in cryptocurrency, 25% are in gold and silver, and then other things, property and shares is the rest. And they're people with lots and lots of money, and they've done that. So you need to be looking at what to do with your money. When your life savings crashes and becomes worth nothing, then what? You need to be looking into it. Okay, and the other one I've got here, a little note I've put down, is avoid interest. Interest there's a long, ugly story about interest, but interest is really where they really make their money. They generate. You buy a house, they generate that figure out of nothing, the money cost of the house out of nothing. Then they put it against your name, and then you have to start paying interest on that for 20 years, 40 years, or whatever it is. And then if you don't pay it, they come and take your house. The whole thing is just not right. Don't get into interest. Of course, housing is an interesting one, but pay it off as quick as you can if you do in that situation. And my motto is, if you can't afford it cash, you shouldn't buy it. That's basically my bottom line, and that's how I live and how it works for me. All right, then the next one, the pharmaceuticals. I've got a couple of interesting feedbacks that said they've got a good doctor and the good nurses, and agreed, the nurses and the doctors are doing good stuff, and the surgeons particularly are doing some fabulous stuff. But it's higher up, it's talking. And then the other thing about doctors is they've been trained to treat the symptoms. I went for a little issue a few months ago, and I he told me what was wrong. So then I went and started working it naturally, started correcting it. And then I did need some help, so I went back to him, and he only treats the symptoms. There's no preventative, there's no supportive to it. I said, should I stop eating salt? No, don't worry about that. Should I stop, you know, should I exercise? No, that doesn't really make any difference. Now, if you research it, salt is an issue, and in this situation, and so is lack of exercise. So, he gave me something for the symptom, and it's working. But I'm supporting that. He told me exactly what the side effects of that is, because that's the problem. Some of the cures are worse than the problem, and he actually said that in some cases it does affect it. So I'm managing with him. I'm not just giving him all the responsibility to fix me. We need to be looking after ourselves and caring for ourselves, watching over ourselves. We need to be supplementing our whatever, our having supplements. I like moringa; it is extremely good. Look up moringa, Moringa. We have, my wife and I have some every day, and it really helps us. It supplements everything, because the food of today isn't it's mass produced in large quantities. To find organic food, on the Isle of Wight we can't find organic food. If anybody knows where you can get some, let me know, because we'd like to buy it. But I've looked around and can't get very much. There's a little bit here and there, but not much. So if you can't get organic food, you need to be supplementing. And then the other one then is we've got to be eating healthy. Health-wise, we've got to supplement our health, eat healthy, and our immune system particularly. We must eat stuff that enhance, and even take the odd vitamin and whatever else that supports our immune system. It's important that's with the pandemic stuff that's going around. You need to have a good immune system. With G5, with 5G, sorry, that's going to be an issue. You need to have a good immune system. So you need to start practicing, get the right stuff now. Look it up. I can give you some advice if you want to inbox me on some of the stuff you can take. But you need to be taking stuff. The problem, eating healthy is an issue as well. The stuff in the food pampers. A lot of the stuff we're eating makes us sick, and then we go to the doctor to get better. We need to be eating the right food. We need to be eating healthy. Sugar is a no-no. Wheat is a no-no. Avoid carbohydrates. Again, research for yourself. You've got to be eating healthy. We can't just eat anything. The actual bottom line is, the rule of thumb is, if it's in a packet or a tin or a box, you shouldn't be eating it, really, because there's stuff in there that's not good for you. That's what it is. Fresh, organic if possible, fresh if not, and everything. So then, okay, take supplements, that's it. Just ending off, there's been lots of talks about vaccines. I have not liked vaccines and believe vaccines were harmful for years and years. I believe that, and still to this day. In fact, it's a lot worse now than it used to be. And if you look up stuff, vaccines are given to people, and it makes them sick. And that's what they, you don't have to test them. You can just give them to people, but everything else you got to test. Make sure it's not injuring people. But vaccines, no, you don't have to test vaccines. Now, there's something wrong with that. Vaccines is not good. Avoid vaccinations, really. And then the next thing to avoid, or the last thing I want to mention that you avoid, is tracking. Don't track. Don't get tracked. Don't be tracked. Avoid anything. It's a controlling mechanism, and they want to track you. Maybe at the moment it's on your phone, but it won't be long before they want to put it under your skin. So you must avoid being tracked. And that's it. Then the last thing I want to end off with on this one is, it's really a kind of a contradiction in terms and sense, but you need to know about this stuff. You really do. There's a lot of things going on out there that you need to know about, and I want to encourage you to find out about it. But the trick is Don't let it engulf you. Don't let it take over your thoughts and feelings. We've got to somehow, what I do, and not what I used to do, what I do now, is I'm very, what's the word, judicious in how much I go along. I don't get bitter and twisted about it. I just know about it now. It's no good getting angry and getting frustrated and pulling down statues and burning stuff. That is not productive. It's really, in fact, counterproductive because you're putting in negative stuff into the situations. And what you want to be doing at all times is trying to be as positive as you can about different situations. But you can't just ignore them. You ignore them, and they will continue to get worse. But then if you then do find out about them, don't let it be all consuming. You see, I've got friends of mine online and stuff. It's all consuming. It's not helpful. You've got to find some. It is frustrating. You find it frustrating when other people don't see what you're seeing, or and are blind to it, or you put blinkers on, or whatever. It is, and when you find out what they're actually trying to do to us, that is a shock to the system. But you can't let it consume you or take over you. You need to still keep it at arm's length. And so, what I do is I don't get, if I see I'm getting a bit too, Afrikaans word is te. If I get too much into things, then what I'll do is I'll withdraw and I'll ignore that stuff for a little while and come back when I can control my energies about it. So I hope that helps. I hope that's helpful to you. And I want to wish you well. I want you to grow well. And obviously, look at my other videos that are coming. I've got lots more coming on the other side, on the actual teaching side. With you might have seen some of them with the screen in the background. Have a look out for those. And who knows, I might be doing some more of these in the future. Thank you for watching. Bless you all. Cheerio.